Welcome to Panda Tale. I hope you have a great time listening to the story. If you enjoy it, don't forget to give me a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. I am the Crown Princess. But the Crown Prince doesn't love me. Of course, after being reborn, I cannot love him again. In my previous life, I loved him to the point of obsession. He stripped my tendons and extracted my bones. Reborn, I not only want to strip his tendons and bones, but also exterminate his entire clan. I died on the day of the new emperor's ascension. Died horribly, betrayed by the one I loved most, the one I trusted most. Blinded in both eyes, tendons pulled, bones extracted, blood flowing like a river. Even the king of hell wouldn't accept me. He said my resentment was too heavy to reincarnate. But fortune comes from misfortune. I was reborn. Reborn to 3 years before the day I made my marriage contract with the Crown Prince. I sat before my dressing table, remembering everything from my previous life, still not fully recovered from the shock. My personal maid Jade pushed open the door and entered, holding a new pink moonflower dress, cheerfully saying to me, "Young miss, today we're entering the palace for the banquet. We might see His Highness the Crown Prince. Shall we wear this newly bought moonflower dress?" "All right." I looked up. I looked at Jade and gently agreed, my voice choked with emotion. "Then let's quickly do your makeup and change. We'll dazzle everyone later." Jade excitedly prepared to help me with makeup when she suddenly exclaimed, "Young miss, why you crying?" "Am I crying?" I touched my face. Indeed, I was crying. "Young miss, are you so happy about entering the palace that you're crying tears of joy?" Jade squinted her eyes, teasing me. "Of course not." I wiped the tears from my face and gently pushed Jade's face away, but couldn't take my eyes off her pure features. Jade was my personal maid, only 1 year younger than me. We grew up together, as close as sisters. She never betrayed me, and in the end, died horribly in prison because of me, violated by 8 men. Thinking of what happened in my previous life, my heart felt like it was being squeezed by an iron fist, the pain making it hard to breathe. "Jade," I held her hand, sobbing, "Jade, from now on, I absolutely won't let you suffer any grievances." "Young miss, what nonsense are you talking about?" Jade looked at me awkwardly, then sincerely said, "Young miss has never made Jade suffer any grievances. Being able to follow young miss is Jade's greatest fortune. Being able to be reborn and have her continue by my side is also my greatest fortune." I silently vowed that this life I must protect Jade well. Moreover, I must make those who hurt her pay dearly. "Young miss, why are you acting so strange today?" Seeing me close my eyes without saying a word, Jade grabbed my hand. "Today is a special day. His Majesty arranged a welcome banquet for our general." "That's right, today is a grand banquet. Father just returned victorious from battle. The Emperor outwardly arranged a celebration banquet for his military achievements. But the real purpose is to marry me to the Crown Prince to consolidate the imperial position and ensure Father has no thoughts of rebellion. On this day in my previous life, when I learned I would be married to the Crown Prince, I was so happy I couldn't sleep. But I had no idea the Hongman banquet today was the beginning of my hell. Because the person the Crown Prince likes isn't me at all, but my cousin Luna Song. Her parents died and mine raised her as their own daughter. They had been secretly involved with each other long ago. The Crown Prince used me and my father to eliminate the princes who threatened him. Finally, he plotted to kill my father, then killed me. In my previous life, I was extremely foolish, completely unaware how deep their schemes ran. Even before dying, I still asked Luna Song, "Why did you do this?" "Luna, I treated you like my own sister. Why did you treat me this way? Why? Ah, my good sister, I hate you. Can't you tell? From the beginning, you've always been the high and mighty Miss Song. While I could only live in your shadow forever. I clearly work harder than you, am more outstanding than you, but every time I can only stand behind you. No one ever notices me. You deserve to die. Your parents deserve to die even more. Your father killed my father and stole his achievements. That's why I became an orphan. The position of Crown Princess was originally mine. The future Empress can only be me. You go die. Die. These eyes are so beautiful. What would it be like to gouge them out? This face is so beautiful. No wonder it can make so many people yearn for it. And that slender waist, soft body. Eyes closed, Luna's crazed rage before I died still echoes in my mind. I can still feel the pain of having my eyes gouged out, tendons pulled, bones extracted. Thinking of this, my hands unconsciously clench into fists. Luna Song, Marcus Gu, you certainly never expected I could be reborn. The pain I suffered in my previous life, you will pay back multiple times in this life. After finishing my makeup, I entered the palace with father for the banquet. Luna Song also came along, that scheming person who pretends to be innocent, playing the little white rabbit so convincingly. Her small, fair face without blemish, clear as jade, almond eyes full of gentleness, adorable. If it weren't for her vicious actions in my previous life when she cruelly took my eyes, I truly couldn't believe such a weak, beautiful, kind Luna Song could have such a poisonous heart. After her parents died, mine treated her as their own daughter. Whether food or toys, whatever I had, she had too, even more. But our personalities were completely different. From childhood, I learned martial arts from father and medicine from mother. I was proficient in music, chess, calligraphy and painting, but especially excelled at plum blossom boxing. She was the complete opposite, refined in all the arts, exuding the air of a proper lady. She was the model all women in the capital wanted to emulate. Clearly she was the one everyone admired. Why claim she was always in my shadow, overshadowed by me? I truly can't understand this, but I don't want to dwell on such useless details. Sister, this is my first time entering the palace. Are there many rules in the palace? Will going with you cause trouble for father? When Luna's parents died, she wasn't even 10 years old. On the first day she was adopted, she consciously changed how she addressed us. I thought she truly saw my parents as her own. Only now do I understand from just 10 years old, she had already begun wearing a false face. Like now, to curry favor with father, she deliberately says things against her heart. Don't worry. Today we just enjoy the banquet happily. There aren't too many rules. Father gently patted Luna's head, his tone mild, but when he turned to me, he immediately became stern. Sophia, behave yourself today. Follow your sister obediently and don't cause trouble for me. I understand, father. I promise to be good. Actually, in my previous life, father didn't agree to marry me to the crown prince. I was the one who insisted. This life, I will definitely listen to father obediently. So obedient today. Are you plotting something? Father, seeing me so compliant, was momentarily uncomfortable. He patted my shoulder suspiciously. I reached out to touch father's large hand, assuring him, Father, rest assured. Your daughter isn't plotting anything. I promise from now on I'll be obedient. When I touched father's hand, I couldn't help but secretly sniffle. How fortunate that I can live again. This life, I will definitely let my parents live well. After entering the palace, father left Luna and me in one place while he went to see the emperor first. As soon as father left, Luna pulled me toward the imperial garden. Sister, there's a lotus pond over there. Let's go see. In my previous life by the lotus pond, Luna pretended to trip so I would catch her. Then she deliberately pushed me into the pond. Before I could swim to shore, she loudly called for help to get the crown prince to save me. Though I had some admiration for the crown prince, I never thought of marrying him. That day, seeing him boldly jump into the pond left a deep impression on me. I felt he was a kind, trustworthy person, which is why I was foolish enough to entrust my family's fate and myself to him. Luna and Marcus Gu were too scheming, which is how they deceived me so miserably. I didn't expose her charade, but calmly went with her to see the lotus pond. But when she pretended to fall to push me, I leaned to the side, pretending to stumble, then directly pushed her into the pond. Luna panicked, flailing in the water. Save me. Sister, stay calm. I'll immediately find someone to save you. She couldn't swim, so she struggled more than I did in my previous life. I turned and hid behind a tree, watching her make a scene. Only after a long while did I head somewhere with people to call for help. Someone fell in the water, help. Soon I saw a tall, thin figure run over and jump into the water to pull Luna up. Cough, cough. Luna choked on water, coughing so hard she couldn't speak. It took a long while before she said in panic, Crown Prince, Your Highness. Discovering the person in his arms was Luna, Marcus Gu's expression showed displeasure and some anger. He pushed her to the ground, then said to his followers, What are you standing there for? Quickly check if second Miss Song is all right. Yes. The guards and maids following him hurriedly helped the soaking wet Luna sitting on the ground stand up. Thank you, Your Highness the Crown Prince, for saving my sister. I very politely thanked Marcus Gu, trying hard to suppress my disgust as I walked to Luna's side and gently said, Sister, how could you be so careless? Just looking at lotus flowers and you fell into the pond. Quickly thanked the Crown Prince. Thank you for saving my life, Your Highness. This servant is extremely grateful. It's nothing. Marcus Gu waved his hand, his gaze lingering on me with some deeper meaning that I couldn't understand. Marcus Gu's appearance is indeed very beautiful, extraordinary bearing, tall and slender build, refined features, and a pair of spirited phoenix eyes. At 15 when I first met him, I was captivated by his beauty. If I didn't know his inner ugliness, I might still value his external beauty. But having memories of my previous life, knowing he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, now seeing his beautiful face only disgusts me. I don't want to linger a moment longer. I hurriedly said, Trouble Your Highness to take us to change clothes, otherwise we'll be late for the banquet. Perhaps because my tone was too polite and distant, Marcus Gu looked at me for a while before replying, All right, follow me. When we left the Imperial Garden, I saw Adrian passing by in a sedan chair. His appearance was just like the young man in my memories from my previous life. Jade-like face, sharp eyebrows, eyes bright as stars, refined features like a perfect sculpture, immortal-like, his whole person exuding imperial bearing. He was wearing a blue robe, the hem and sleeves embroidered with cranes flying through clouds in silver thread, extremely exquisite. Combined with a hollow gold belt and a jade pendant hanging at his waist, his bearing was truly elegant. Greetings to the third prince. All the guards and maids around bowed. Even Luna, who had just fallen in the water, had regained her composure and obediently bowed. Only I stood frozen in place, forgetting to bow to him. In my previous life, after falling into the water, Marcus Gu carried me directly to the Empress's chambers to change clothes, so I didn't meet Adrian here. Now, because I deliberately delayed rescuing Luna early, I encountered him. Adrian Gu. I silently repeated his name, my eyes heating up. In my previous life he loved me so much, yet I personally pushed him into hell. But now Adrian Gu passed by me without even glancing at me, treating me like a stranger, not noticing I didn't bow to him. His temperament has always been this indifferent, not caring about anyone or anything. So when exactly did he notice me? Sister. Luna's call pulled me from my daze. That was the third prince. Sister, why didn't you bow? Ah, I forgot. Seeing the crown prince ahead turned back to look at me impatiently saying, Let's go. Change clothes first. Marcus Gu didn't take Luna to the Empress's chambers but to the 7th princess's chambers next door. Luna and I changed clothes. I planned to have father arrange a match for her, pair her with Marcus Gu. But thinking of Adrian Gu's cold gaze, my heart felt somewhat uncomfortable. Finally, emotion conquered reason. I said, Sister, you change first. I forgot something at the Imperial Garden. Then I turned and headed straight back to the Imperial Garden, hoping Adrian Gu hadn't left yet. I hurriedly ran toward the Imperial Garden, searching everywhere but couldn't find Adrian. Just when I was disappointed and about to leave, from behind came a clear, pleasant voice. Are you looking for this? I stopped and turned to see Adrian Gu sitting in a wheelchair, holding a light green jade pendant. His thin lips were pressed tight, black hair neatly bound with a jade, inlaid hairpin. Though in a wheelchair, his posture was straight as a pine tree, noble and elegant. Under the golden sunlight, his handsome appearance was even more dazzling. The jade pendant in his hand was indeed mine, but I didn't come back to find the jade pendant. I came to find him, so it was picked up by the third prince. I smiled and walked toward him, my heart beating nonstop. I really wanted to run over and hug him, but I didn't dare and couldn't. In my previous life, I believed Marcus Gu's words that he was a sinister, vicious person who killed his older brother, so I deliberately approached him using healing his legs as an excuse to completely cripple him. Thinking of this, my heart ached unbearably. Adrian Gu, in my previous life I wronged you. This life I won't be foolish again. From now on, I'll protect you well and help you stand up again. I walked up to him, reaching out to take back the jade pendant, but he pulled his hand back, coldly saying, "Miss Song, how can you prove this jade pendant is yours?" His voice was truly pleasant, clear as a babbling brook, but somewhat cold. If I didn't know he was cold outside but warm inside, I truly wouldn't have the courage to continue talking with him. Then shall we make a bet? I tilted my head looking at him. If I can prove this is one mine, Your Highness agrees to one condition from me. Okay. I rarely interacted with him before, yet he knew who I was, proving he noticed me early on. But before Adrian Gu could reply after I finished speaking, suddenly someone behind loudly scolded. Impudent. Who gave you the gall to make conditions with His Highness? I was startled by the loud scolding. Before I could react, Adrian Gu turned to reprimand the guard. Who told you to come here? Back off. Adrian Gu's voice wasn't loud, but the deterrent effect was clearly very strong. The guard trembled and retreated. After dismissing the guard, Adrian Gu turned back to look at me, his gaze finally resting on the jade pendant in his hand. Gently answering 2 words, "Alright," he agreed so easily. I suppressed my joy, pointed at the jade pendant and said, Your Highness, if you hold the jade pendant under the sunlight and look carefully, inside there's a character for fire. This jade pendant was specially made for me by Father. He originally wanted to write my name, but the jade was too small to fit it all, so he had someone write fire, saying I'm always fierce like a flame. Adrian Gu followed my words, holding the jade under the sunlight. After looking for a moment, he said, There is indeed a fire character. Seeing his serious expression, my heart suddenly beat chaotically as if about to jump out of my chest. Then, what condition does Miss want this prince to agree to? He put away the jade pendant and raised his eyes to look at me. This puzzled expression made me suspect, did he know from the beginning this jade pendant was mine? I stood up straight, took 2 steps closer to him, squatted down to eye level with him, took a deep breath, then slowly said, Your Highness, I hope you can agree to let me treat your legs. Actually, I wanted to say I hoped to become his princess. The me from my previous life, if I liked him, I would dare speak up. But after experiencing a lifetime of torture, Marcus Gu and Luna have many schemes. I must go slowly, step by step, to defeat them. I can't be hasty. As soon as I finished speaking, I clearly felt the surrounding atmosphere become heavy. Though Adrian Gu's expression didn't change, his eyes told me he was very surprised. Your Highness. I took another deep breath and slowly said, Your legs aren't injured from a fall but poisoned, right? After hearing my question, he slightly frowned, eyes showing doubt. He announced to the outside that his leg injury was from falling off a horse. Besides the imperial physician treating him, no one knew he was poisoned. I not only knew he was poisoned but also knew who did it. Of course, to avoid unnecessary trouble, I won't say it now. Knowing he doubted me, I explained, My mother comes from a medical family. From young, I followed her, learning by osmosis, picking up some medical skills. Your Highness may have forgotten, half a month ago, you passed by the general's mansion and stopped to rest. Though you didn't agree to let my mother examine your legs, when she got close to you, she could tell your legs weren't injured externally. In my previous life, I also used this reason to approach and treat him. The difference was in my previous life I wanted to harm him, while this life I truly want to heal him. I also know you're looking for an herb to make tiger hidden pills to treat your leg injury. My grandfather has this herb. In my previous life, I lied saying I had that herb when actually I didn't. I didn't want to get it at all, instead using another poison to substitute, making his health deteriorate day by day. Thinking of these things, my heart ached terribly, as if thousands of arrows pierced through it. My fingertips went soft and numb. I truly hate myself, hate how I loved the wrong person and harmed the wrong person in my previous life. How fortunate that this life I can make amends. His dark eyes stared at me unblinkingly, expression serious as if wanting to see through me. After looking at me for a long while, he finally asked word by word in a hoarse voice, "Why do you want to help me?" "Because." I leaned slightly toward his ear and said, "Because your highness grew up so handsome. I'm thinking if I can heal your legs, maybe you'll like me and let me be your princess." I boldly said these words, my heart pounding anxiously. His jaw tightened, features becoming cold and hard, but looking carefully, his ears were slightly red. At this moment, the guard who was just dismissed suddenly came over saying, "Your Highness, it's getting late. We should go to the main hall." Realizing this wasn't an appropriate place to talk, I didn't tease him anymore and said, "Then, tomorrow I'll wait for you at the San Mile Inn. No meeting, no leaving." Having said that, I stood up, seriously looked at Adrian Gue and asked, "Your Highness, can you return the jade pendant to me?" He lowered his head to look at the jade pendant in his hand, somewhat reluctant. "Father is definitely looking for me. Your Highness, please keep this jade pendant for me. I'll take it back when I have the chance." Afraid he would refuse tomorrow's meeting, I ran off after speaking, not giving him a chance to refuse. I ran at top speed to the Imperial study. Just as I reached the door, I saw Father coming out. Seeing me rushing over, Father scolded in a low voice, "What are you running here for?" "I came to find Father." I grabbed Father's hand, pulling him aside and said, "Father, just now Sister accidentally fell into the lotus pond. Do you know who saved her?" Just hearing Luna fell into the lotus pond, Father ignored the rest and anxiously asked, "Your sister fell into the lotus pond. How is she? Is she hurt? Where is she now?" Father's reaction proved he truly loved Luna as his own daughter. Because in my previous life when I fell in the water, he wasn't this anxious at all. Mainly because I could swim and he was the one who taught me. To teach me to swim, he threw me in the water many times. But Luna couldn't swim, so he was worried. "Father, don't worry. Sister is fine. The Crown Prince saved her." "The Crown Prince?" Father stopped in surprise, looking at me in astonishment. "Yes, Your Highness, the Crown Prince." I pretended to gossip. "Father, I'll tell you a secret. Sister and His Highness the Crown Prince have been in love for a long time." "Is this true?" "Sophia, don't speak nonsense. I remember Father wanted to say I liked the Crown Prince. In my previous life I indeed liked the Crown Prince, but now I only hate him." "Father, you're mistaken. The one who likes the Crown Prince isn't me but Sister. How could I steal Sister's love? I truly don't like the Crown Prince. They are the mutually affectionate couple. If Father doesn't believe it, when we get home you can check Sister's room. There must be tokens from the Crown Prince. Moreover, just now at the Lotus Pond, when he knew Sister fell in the water, His Highness the Crown Prince was very anxious, jumping directly into the water to carry Sister up. Father, I feel we should help Sister a bit, help her marry the one in her heart. I've always been someone who dares to love and hate, decisive and straightforward." Hearing me say this, Father basically believed it. However, there definitely aren't any tokens in Luna's room, but letters certainly aren't few. I clearly remember she secretly kept a jade pendant from the Crown Prince. I guess she won't dare show Father those things, so if Father asks her, she'll definitely confess. "Sophia, do you really want this?" Father looked at me somewhat pensively, asking once more. "Course. Marriage is a major matter. How could I deceive you?" I answered seriously. "Wait here a moment. I'll go talk to the Emperor." Father turned and went to the Imperial study. I knew just now in the Imperial study, the Emperor definitely proposed marriage between me and the Crown Prince. Father didn't really want me to marry the Crown Prince. But in my previous life when I learned the Emperor wanted to marry me to the Crown Prince, I was extremely happy, repeatedly begging Father to agree to this marriage. Now knowing the Crown Prince and Luna are true love, he'll definitely discuss this with the Emperor. Father definitely won't break up Mandarin ducks. I guess the emperor won't either. After a while, father came out of the imperial study, his expression no better than before. I hurriedly ran over to ask, "Father, didn't the conversation go well?" "Not exactly. The emperor agreed to the marriage, but since Luna isn't my biological daughter, the emperor suggested she be a secondary consort." Father sighed and said, "This is the emperor's greatest concession. Luna can only suffer this slight, but thinking about it, being a secondary consort is also good. Luna is gentle and simple, even less suitable to be crown princess. Gentle and simple. Father, I think you're a great fool." "What did you say?" "Haha, nothing. I said being a secondary consort is very good. A secondary consort is still a consort. Just as I thought, with Luna's status, becoming a secondary consort already gives great face to my father, this meritorious minister. How could she become crown princess? Though I died on the day of the new emperor's ascension in my previous life, I'm certain even if the crown prince truly ascended the throne, Luna couldn't become empress." "Wait, if Marcus Gu truly ascended the throne, who would be empress?" When the banquet was ending, the emperor had someone announce the marriage between Marcus Gu and Luna. Luna probably didn't expect just falling into the lotus pond would lead to this result. Her expression was as uncomfortable as if she'd eaten fly droppings. Marcus Gu's expression was even uglier, looking at Luna with knife, sharp eyes, wishing he could chop her into 100 pieces. After the banquet ended, Marcus Gu sent subordinates to pass word that he wanted to see me, but I refused. He disregarded propriety and directly by carriage at the main gate. "What is it?" Father frowned, asking the guard. The guard outside respectfully replied, "General, it's His Highness the Crown Prince." Father immediately planned to get off the carriage. Luna hurriedly stopped him, saying, "Father, His Highness the Crown Prince is probably here to find me." Just as she finished speaking, we heard the guard outside say, "His Highness the Crown Prince wants to speak a few words with First Miss Song." Luna's expression was even uglier than when she heard she'd be a secondary consort. My mood was very cheerful seeing her discomfort, but I also didn't want to meet Marcus Gu. I directly told those outside, "Please inform the Crown Prince that this servant is inconvenienced to meet privately with my sister's future husband. Please ask His Highness to return." "Sister? Doesn't sister like His Highness the Crown Prince?" "Why? Who said I like the Crown Prince?" I deliberately spoke loudly, so those outside could hear. "Though I admire His Highness, it's not that kind of liking. I'm not afraid of being laughed at, actually, I already have someone in my heart." Father, hearing this, asked in surprise, "Sophia, you have someone in your heart? Which family's young master?" "It's a secret. I still don't know if he likes me." Thinking of Adrian Gu's cold expression, I felt a bit scared, truly worried he wouldn't come to tomorrow's meeting. Also afraid that being reborn this time, he won't like me anymore. My daughter has grown up. I can't control you. Father patted my and Luna's hands, then said, "I'll go down to speak with the Crown Prince a few words." Father got off the carriage and talked with the Crown Prince by the roadside. I don't know what they discussed. After getting back on, Father comforted Luna, telling her to prepare well for the wedding, saying even as a secondary consort, he'd let her marry off grandly. Grandly. When she dies, I'll also give her a grand funeral. Actually, I once thought of pretending to like the Crown Prince and marrying him first, then gradually killing him and Luna. After all, being by his side makes things easier. If there weren't Adrian Gu, I might go this route, but imagining those beautiful phoenix eyes, I dismissed the idea of becoming Crown Princess. This life, no matter what, I won't disappoint Adrian Gu. I have confidence that even without marrying Marcus Gu, I can still tear him to pieces. The next day, I didn't eat breakfast but hurriedly went to San Mile Inn to wait for Adrian Gu. I waited a long time without seeing him, but instead waited for someone I least wanted to meet. I was sitting in a corner drinking tea when a tall, thin figure sat down opposite me. Knowing he would come, I happily looked up, only to find it wasn't Adrian Gu but Marcus Gu. I'm really muddle-headed. How could I forget Adrian Gu's legs are disabled? He can't sit down by himself. Don't want to see me? Why do you look unhappy? Marcus Gu shamelessly asked. What does your highness the crown prince want? I lifted the teacup before me and took a sip, trying hard to suppress the hatred in my heart. I was afraid I couldn't control myself and would directly cut his throat with a sword. Sophia, why are you suddenly cold to me? Marcus Gu lightly frowned, showing a very innocent expression as if I had wronged him. Still shamelessly saying, my marriage with Luna was Father Emperor's idea. You know I don't like Luna. How could he calmly say such disgusting words? Whether you like Luna or not is none of my business, I said coldly, then stood up to leave. Unexpectedly, he directly grabbed my hand, putting on an affectionate appearance. Sophia, trust me, I truly don't like her. Even if we marry, she's only a secondary consort. The position of crown princess I only want to give to you. Your Highness. I shook off his hand, cutting him off seriously. Your Highness, please respect yourself. I also have no ambition to be crown princess. Moreover, last night I already said I have someone I like. And this is the betrothal token you gave me when we were young. Back then you said you must marry me. I also promised when we grew up I'd marry you as crown princess. I don't believe it was just said casually. He opened his palm. Inside was a bracelet woven from red thread with a blue bead in the middle. I remember about 5 or 6 years ago, Father took me hunting for the first time. The crown prince was also there. We were evenly matched. Back then, outsiders often joked we were a heaven-made pair. On the way back, seeing red thread bracelets being sold by the roadside, I asked Father to buy 2, one to give to him. At that time, I didn't understand what a marriage contract meant. But of course, back then I truly wanted to marry him. Only before dying did I understand he and Luna were the same, already cultivating cunning schemes at just 10 years old. I was about to speak when I suddenly saw a familiar figure approaching. It was clearly him sitting in a wheelchair, but his presence was stronger than others. His whole person was elegantly handsome, face like jade, neat sword-like eyebrows, eyes black as an eagle's, sharp and cold. This gaze was very aggressive, sharp as a sword that could cut others into pieces, truly making one's hair stand on end. Indeed, I was afraid of Adrian Gu. But in my previous life, to defeat him, I boldly, deliberately approached him. Now, knowing what kind of person he is, fear has turned to heartache. The distance wasn't close. He probably didn't hear my conversation with the crown prince, so he might have misunderstood my relationship with the crown prince. Your Highness, shall we go in? The guard beside him tilted his head to ask. He raised his eyes and glanced at me coldly, saying, return to the mansion. Indeed, he misunderstood. I wanted to chase after him, but reason conquered emotion. I paused for about 2 seconds, then looked at the crown prince and said, that was just children's playful words. Why does your Highness take it seriously? Moreover, speaking of betrothal tokens, don't you have more with my sister? Once said. Marcus Gu fell silent, unable to refute. He must not have thought I knew about his affair with Luna. I was too lazy to say more meaningless words to him and directly turned to leave. If I don't chase now, I'm afraid I'll miss Adrian Gu this lifetime. Adrian Gu's legs are disabled, so he boards carriages very slowly. Before he got on, I had already secretly climbed into his carriage. When he got on and saw me, it was like seeing a ghost. Cough cough. Alright, it's really not that dramatic. After all, he's the 3rd prince, never showing emotions, but his eyes showed some doubt and surprise. Why are you here? He frowned, asking hoarsely. In my previous life, why didn't I notice his voice was so pleasant? My driver left first. Your Highness, can you give me a ride? He didn't frown anymore but spoke words of refusal. Get off. From here to the general's mansion takes 2 hours. The sun is so hot. Your Highness has the heart to let me walk. He stared at me intently, lips pressed together, not speaking. Your Highness, even if you want to punish, you should interrogate first before concluding. Today I truly only arranged to meet your Highness at Sandmile Inn. Meeting His Highness the Crown Prince was just coincidence. I swear if there's half a lie, May I be struck by lightning and die. Before I could finish saying, horribly, he cut me off. One more word and get off immediately. I shut my mouth. I made a zipping motion, then happily sat down beside him waiting for the carriage to start. My hands turned to look at him, asking softly, "May I ask? Your Highness, can I speak now?" He glanced at me, crossed his arms and didn't speak. "Your Highness, I truly want to heal your legs." He turned to look at me, eyes sharp, lips moving to ask, "What makes me trust you?" In my previous life, he didn't ask me this because my chance to approach and treat him came from coincidence. The Crown Prince, wanting him to trust me, deliberately created an unexpected situation trapping us together in a temple. I stayed with him for 5 days. His legs regained feeling, so he trusted me. This life, I won't marry the Crown Prince or follow his arrangements, so there won't be such unexpected situations. All these years you've sought many physicians, tried many prescriptions. You yourself know clearly who can heal your legs, besides my grandfather, only my mother. So he frowned, looking at me with an expression holding some deeper meaning. Before I could speak, my stomach growled twice. How embarrassing. I touched my stomach bashfully saying, "Waiting for your Highness, I didn't even eat breakfast. Can I eat something first, then discuss this?" Adrian Gu didn't refuse, taking me to a rather secluded private restaurant. In my previous life I'd been to this restaurant. The chef was Adrian Gu's friend, truly excellent cooking skills, especially the soy sauce roasted chicken, incredibly delicious. But today, looking at a table full of food with only the beloved soy sauce roasted chicken missing, I couldn't help asking, "Why is there no soy sauce roasted chicken?" The waiter bringing food replied, "Very sorry, the roasted chicken is sold out. There will be more tomorrow." Their restaurant limits quantities daily, which I knew. I forgot. I was somewhat disappointed, waving my hand. Just as I turned my head, I found Adrian Gu looking at me with somewhat suspicious eyes. "Have you been to this restaurant before?" This restaurant is quite far from the inner city, really one south one north from the general's mansion. In my previous life, if he hadn't brought me here, I truly wouldn't have known this place. Adrian Gu is very suspicious. Afraid he'd overthink, I said I'd never been but heard the soy sauce roasted chicken here was very good and wanted to try it. Afraid he wouldn't believe me, I buried my head eating, continuously praising the chef's skills here. Everything was delicious. "Ah, Your Highness, why aren't you eating?" La ate at the mansion. Looking up and seeing his gaze, I felt somewhat guilty. I don't know why, but I felt his gaze on me was somewhat abnormal, not passionate love, but also not exactly disgust. Otherwise he wouldn't have brought me here to eat. But his gaze on me from beginning to end carried a bit of scrutiny. But thinking about it, it's also normal. My liking the Crown Prince isn't a secret, everyone knows. He and the Crown Prince are rivals, one must fall. I suddenly approached wanting to treat his legs, him being suspicious of me is natural. After eating, I took out silver needles and began treating Adrian Gu's legs. Surprisingly, he was extremely cooperative. Though the guards following continuously advised against it, he still trusted me to let me treat him. In my previous life at that temple, I also had to persuade many times before he agreed to let me treat him. But now he directly let me begin. I felt it might be because I guaranteed I wouldn't side with the Crown Prince, so he trusted me. I thought having treated him in my previous life, I was very familiar with his leg injury. I thought even seeing the festering, swollen wounds wouldn't affect me much emotionally. But when he rolled up his pants, my heart felt squeezed, blood seeming to stop flowing, heart aching unbearably. "Does it hurt?" I secretly took a deep breath, taking silver needles to insert into his calf. "No pain." He shook his head. "The delay has been too long." Though I tried hard to control myself, my voice still couldn't help but choke slightly, eyes covered by a hazy layer, unable to see clearly. Injured at 12, until now isn't too long. He's 20 this year. 8 full years, yet he used such calm tone saying it wasn't too long. But the calmer he was, the more my heart ached. I truly hate myself, hate that I didn't know people in my previous life and did such things to him. But in my previous life, I still had a bit of hidden compassion. I didn't follow the Crown Prince's words to directly kill Adrian, nor did I use the poison the Crown Prince gave to make him suffer too much pain. I only completely crippled his legs beyond healing, but even just that was enough to hurt him, because he had trusted me so much. Sophia, when I can stand up, I'll ride horses and take you to see the beautiful scenery of the world, taste many delicious foods. In my previous life, he hoped so much to stand up like that, wishing he could bring the whole world to me. Yet I wanted him to never stand up forever. I'm sorry. I silently apologized, but unexpectedly said these 3 words out loud. Looking up, I unexpectedly met his deep gaze. I was somewhat flustered. Why apologize? He parted his lips, voice still clear and very gentle, but made people even more nervous. Afraid he'd noticed something unusual, I quickly lowered my head to continue acupuncture, slowly explaining. If I had discovered earlier your highness's leg injury was from poison, if I had persuaded my mother earlier to treat your highness, it wouldn't have been delayed so long. Is that so? He looked into the distance, voice echoing from a valley, carrying some emptiness. It's probably fate. Your highness, bear with it a bit. I increased the force, needling from calf to thigh. I saw sweat seeping from Adrian Gu's face, but didn't hear him groan once. His expression remained as calm as always. He truly could endure. No wonder he could bear leg pain for 8 years. His leg injury wasn't external, so he hadn't lost feeling. On the contrary, because of the poison, it left after effects tortured day and night. Each time pain struck, it was excruciating. These years, he'd endured great hardship, hadn't he? I couldn't help raising my head to look at him. Unexpectedly, he was also lowering his head, looking at me intently. Our eyes met. Finally, he looked away. The first treatment session ended. I gently let down his pant leg, borrowing paper and brush from the restaurant to write him a prescription. Your Highness, I'm prescribing some medicine for you. But for now, these medicines can only help reduce your pain. Because you've been poisoned for long, I'm afraid it can't be completely cured in a short time. It needs a very long process. If I prescribe too strong medicine, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to handle it. So I plan to gradually increase the dosage. His voice was very indifferent, but listening carefully, there was a slight tremor. He took the prescription from my hand. After glancing over it, he waved for a guard to come over, handed him the prescription saying, "Take this to fill." His commanding tone was decisive, not allowing the guard to object. The guard looked at Adrian Gu, wanting to speak but stopping, finally answering, "Yes." Then took the prescription and left. After the guard left, only Adrian Gu and I remained in the small room. I'd been treating him for nearly 2 hours. Afraid staying too long would arouse suspicion, I reluctantly bid him farewell. Your Highness, I must return to the General's mansion. Can your Highness have someone take me to San Mile Inn? Because I didn't want others following or being suspicious, I had Jade wait at San Mile Inn. Taking you to San Mile Inn, then you plan to walk 2 hours back to the General's mansion. I was somewhat embarrassed. When I first got on his carriage, I lied that my driver left without waiting for me. He's so smart, he definitely saw through my lie but didn't pursue it. He moved his wheelchair 2 steps closer to me, raised his head staring at me intently. Sophia Song. What does your Highness want to instruct? I bowed, eyes looking down at his legs. He raised his hand to lift my chin, forcing me to look straight at him. Tell me why you want to help me. Your Highness. I felt somewhat guilty looking at him, my mind full of images from my previous life. In my previous life, I lied to him that life at the Crown Prince's mansion wasn't good, lied that the Crown Prince wanted to divorce me, complained to him to gain his sympathy and trust. Indeed, in my previous life, I was no different from Marcus Gu, both despicable people without conscience. Your Highness, I truly want to treat you. You must trust me. My tone was extremely solemn. The reason? He continued pressing, but his tone was no longer as serious as before, his hand also releasing my chin. Surely not because you have a healer's compassionate heart and pity me. As far as I know, you're not a healer. Of course not out of pity, Your Highness, I hurriedly denied, pausing before slowly saying, Your Highness, I once had a dream, an unpleasant dream. I saw him frown slightly but look curious. I secretly took a deep breath and continued, in short, that dream was about Your Highness. But in the dream, I didn't cure you. After waking, I was very heartbroken. From that moment, I Sophia Song vowed I must cure Your Highness's legs, so next time when you enter my dreams it will be a beautiful dream. Adrian Gu said nothing, just turned his wheelchair away, showing me his back and said, I'll have Derek take you back. From now on, every noon he'll come to San Mile Inn to bring you here. All right. I felt these words had persuaded him, because from that day, I could see him daily to treat him. Besides treatment, we also chatted. Of course, most of the time I talked while he listened, occasionally responding with a few sentences. For me, that was enough. I told him stories from my childhood. When I was young, I was very mischievous. Mother hoped I'd follow her to study medicine, so whenever she had time, she'd take me to the medical hall to read. Father wanted me to learn martial arts with him, so he'd take me to the recruits' camp for training. They often argued about where to take me. The result was I'd sneak off to play while they argued. When Luna's parents were alive, my relationship with her wasn't bad. Luna was forced by her parents to learn music, chess, calligraphy and painting, so I'd climb walls with her to go play. But basically we'd always get caught by elders. Then my parents would beat me together, scolding me for not sneaking off to play, and if I did play, for corrupting my sister. Back then I didn't understand why, going to play together, the one scolded was always me. Then one day I accidentally saw a note Luna wrote telling her parents I took her out to play. Actually many times she secretly found me to play, but always said I took her. Every time we were caught and brought back, she'd cry and act spoiled. Someone like that naturally wouldn't be scolded. When I said this, Adrian Gu suddenly said in a low voice, So young yet such deep schemes. Right. Luna is very good at acting, has been from young to old. Made me trust her so much before. I'd never told anyone these things, yet these days I told Adrian Gu everything. Of course, I only told these trivial stories. I didn't mention matters from my previous life. Your Highness, today is the 5th day of treatment. I'll change to a different treatment method. But this method will be somewhat painful. If there's any problem, you must tell me immediately. I changed to a different acupuncture technique, planning deeper treatment. Don't worry about me, just do it. His expression and tone were very calm. Having endured pain for many years, what pain had he not experienced? But to cure this poison, he definitely must experience even more intense pain. This feeling was like the feeling before my death in my previous life, the pain of having tendons and bones extracted. Your Highness, I'm starting. I secretly took a deep breath, holding silver needles ready to insert into his thigh. But before the needles could go in, Derek, who was guarding outside, hurriedly pushed open the door. Sorry, Miss Song, I have urgent matters to report to His Highness. Seeing his expression wanting me to avoid, I held the silver needles and retreated several steps. After Derek bent to whisper several sentences in Adrian Gu's ear, Adrian's expression changed slightly, saying he wanted to return to the mansion. Adrian left very urgently. He didn't take me back to San Mile Inn first but arranged for someone else to take me. Though worried, I could only return to the mansion first, thinking even if delayed one day, it wouldn't affect much. I'd just come again tomorrow. Just arriving at the mansion, Luna came toward me with a pained expression, whining, Sister, you leave early and return late these days. What are you busy with? I wanted to find you to go shopping, but couldn't find you anywhere. Just then Mother came out of her room, also asking me. I was just about to ask, why do you go out after every meal recently? My sister's wedding is approaching, and I'm busy with many things, yet you deliberately don't stay home. They didn't mention it, but I almost forgot this important matter. Luna's wedding was approaching. I'm busy helping sister prepare wedding gifts. I avoided Luna's reaching hand, took 2 steps forward to Mother's side, intimately pulling her wrist and acting spoiled. Mother, You haven't gone out recently either. What are you busy with? Embroidering wedding clothes for your sister. There are just a few places I don't know how to do. Come help Mother look. Mother pulled me to her room, taking out the work she'd spent 5 days embroidering. When I saw that deep red wedding dress, I almost cried. In my previous life, I married first. Mother also spent much time embroidering wedding clothes for me, almost identical to this one. I always thought Mother only knew medicine and healing. Only then did I discover Mother could embroider so beautifully too. I haven't told you girls before. Before your grandfather forced me to study medicine, I was a famous embroiderer. Mother is so talented. One hand hugged Mother. The other hugged the clothes she embroidered, not letting go. Mother, I like these clothes. I like them, so when you marry, Mother will make them for you. These are for your sister. But I only like these. I didn't want Luna wearing clothes Mother embroidered to get married. Didn't want her to defile the clothes Mother just embroidered. Sophia, don't make trouble. Mother gently pushed me away, taking the wedding clothes and pointing to the parts still lacking patterns. Tell Mother your opinion. Should this be embroidered with flowers or phoenixes? Flowers are beautiful and elegant. Phoenixes symbolize dragon and phoenix bringing auspiciousness, perfect for newlyweds. No matter what's embroidered, as long as it's worn by Luna, I don't like it. Mother, embroider whatever you want. Whatever's easier, embroider that. Luna doesn't want Mother to work so hard. This little white lotus Luna really can act. Her expression when speaking was gentle and wobbly, truly making one want to cry. Luna is still the most considerate. Mother gently patted her head. I'm considerate of Mother too. I hope Mother doesn't need to do these things. I won't marry in the future, so Mother doesn't need to embroider wedding clothes for me. Look at you talking nonsense. What young lady doesn't marry? Not marrying, staying with Mother forever. I hugged Mother tightly. Mother reached out to hug me, but also hugged Luna at the same time. My parents never discriminated against Luna. If Luna had any conscience, she shouldn't harm my parents so terribly. Luna song, you wanna wear clothes personally embroidered by my mother. Dream on. The next noon, I went to San Mile Inn to wait for Adrian Gu. I waited all afternoon without seeing him. Thinking he forgot, the next day I still went to San Mile to wait. I waited 4 consecutive days, but he never appeared. I searched my memories from my previous life, but couldn't remember what happened to him during this time. Could it be because I didn't marry the crown prince, so many things changed? Returning home, I had Jade send people to secretly inquire about Adrian Gu's news. On the 5th day, news finally came. He'd suffered heatstroke and had been unconscious for days. Why? How is he now? Has he woken? Has the imperial physician come? I asked Jade repeatedly. Jade comforted. Young miss, don't worry. Let me send people to ask again. His Highness has heaven's protection. Rest assured, nothing will happen. How could I not worry? His legs were already poisoned and difficult. Now he's unconscious too. I must quickly go see him. I must think of a way to visit him at the mansion. Young miss. Jade held me back, seeming about to cry. Young miss, it's not appropriate to visit the 3rd prince now. His mother consort is seriously ill in the cold palace. Though the 3rd prince knelt outside the main hall for 3 consecutive days, the emperor still won't send an imperial physician to treat her. If you go find His Highness now, it will bring criticism to our Song family. After Jade spoke, I was also startled, remembering my previous life. I was so eager to marry the crown prince that I didn't pay much attention to Adrian. Only later did I learn Adrian's mother died the same day as my wedding to the crown prince. Of course, not wanting to affect my marriage with Marcus Gu, this matter wasn't spread outside. Luna and the crown prince's wedding date was the same as mine in my previous life, so in just 2 more days, Adrian's mother would die unjustly. Cold Palace. I'm not from the palace, so I don't know where Cold Palace is, nor is it appropriate to enter. But someone can. Jade, follow me into the palace. As the legitimate daughter of the great general, entering the imperial palace naturally no one stops me. After entering the palace, I went straight to the consort gardens. Just entering the door, I saw the maid Clara Fu playing shuttlecock with other palace maids. Seeing me, she fiercely kicked the shuttlecock at me. I glanced at her, then spun around and kicked the shuttlecock straight up onto the roof. You. Clara angrily pointed at my nose, about to scold, but being cultured, she could only coldly say, "Song Wildfire, get that shuttlecock back for me. I help you get it, but first you must agree to one condition." I knew it. You never visit without reason. You little wildcat, coming here definitely means no good, Clara said coldly, completely lacking the bearing of an imperial consort, her angry face just like when we were young. Because of my hot temper, she used to call me Song Wildfire. Later, when we grew up, she felt calling me Song Wildfire was too ugly, so changed it to Song Little Cat. If you don't agree, I'll give the osmanthus cakes my mother made to Lord Fu to eat. I pretended to turn and leave. She quickly ran over and grabbed me tightly. Come back, come back. Sit down and have some tea. What can't be discussed? She loved the osmanthus cakes my mother made most. As long as there were those, there was nothing she wouldn't agree to. As for Clara from my previous life, not only was her love life unsuccessful, but because her brother swore to death not to follow the crown prince, her whole family was framed as rebels and thrown into prison. In the end, I didn't even know if she lived or died. Looking at Clara's innocent face, I sniffled slightly, unable to help but step forward and hug her. Hey, Song Little Cat. What's wrong with you? If you need something, just say it. Don't hug like this. We both grew up in military camps, arguing noisily all day like two boys. We truly had never been this intimate. Feeling her body stiffen slightly, I quickly let go. It's not that. Are you here asking me to help with your marriage matters? She knew I used to like the crown prince, probably thinking I came to ask her to help get the emperor to take back his decision not to let the crown prince marry Luna. Of course not. I hurriedly denied, then pulled her inside to talk about wanting to save Adrian Gu's mother. She was startled, eyes wide. You said you want to save who? The former empress. I lowered my voice. The former empress was wronged. Adrian Gu's mother was the former empress. When the Empress Dowager was alive, she really liked the former empress. She was the Prime Minister's daughter, but later when the Prime Minister was found guilty of corruption and bribery, she gradually fell from favor. Until later when she was falsely accused and killed. After the Empress Dowager died, the Emperor abolished her position and locked her in Cold Palace, not allowing anyone to visit. When the former empress was favored, everyone thought Adrian Gu would be crown prince. No one expected such a change, nor expected Adrian Gu's legs would become disabled. After I finished explaining, Clara wasn't very surprised, sighing, "The harem really is too complicated. Can you help me with this?" "Only you can." I held Clara's hand, speaking earnestly. Though I said it was helping me, actually it was also helping her. Because the mastermind of this matter was the current empress, gentle on the surface, but the person directing everything from behind. Marcus Gu was her son. All of this was to help Marcus Gu eliminate future troubles so he could smoothly ascend to emperor. Of course, I couldn't tell Clara this. Fortunately, Clara didn't ask much but immediately agreed, saying no matter what I did, she'd help me. Even if you really want me to help you steal the groom. She winked teasingly. I don't like the crown prince anymore. Don't tease me about this anymore. Why? Didn't you once say you wouldn't marry anyone but the crown prince? When did your mind return to normal? Your mind is the abnormal one. I patted her head threateningly. Swallow those words, don't say them again. Clara made a face at me, reaching for an osmanthus cake to stuff in her mouth, chewing while saying, I know, I'm not a child. I'm very tight-lipped now. You say you don't like the crown prince anymore, so who do you like now? How about considering my brother? See if you still haven't given up wanting me as your sister-in-law. She tilted her head cutely, nodding like a pecking chicken. Right, get lost. You want me as your sister-in-law, but I don't want you as my sister-in-law. Humph, ungrateful thing. My brother saved your life back then. Why don't you repay with your body? I also saved your life. Why did you enter the palace as a consort in the blink of an eye? You're not a man, marrying you. Wouldn't I live like a widow? In my eyes, your brother isn't a man either. Making me your sister-in-law would harm both of us. That's because you're too strong, making my brother seem not like a man. My brother is also very capable. Alright. Clara really worships her brother. Of course, compared to her brother, she worships me a bit more. After all, I did save her life before. Now I want to do everything to save her whole family's lives, consider it repaying the favor, since her brother indeed saved my life. This matter was progressing more smoothly than I planned. I had underestimated Clara's abilities in the palace. I thought she'd be the same in the palace as at home, only knowing how to live willfully. But unexpectedly, after nearly a year in the palace, her connections and wisdom had improved greatly. But at the same time, I felt somewhat pained. She used to be a young lady who needed help even getting on a carriage, needed someone to clean up after using the bathroom. Yet today, she followed me out of that smelly bathroom, climbed fake mountains, then climbed through windows to enter cold palace. What virtue did I accumulate to have such a good friend? Before Clara could finish thanking me, she suddenly pointed at me and laughed loudly. Ha! Song little cat, your appearance right now is exactly like a wild cat crawling out of a trash can. Look at your face, and you're talking about me. You're no different. You're not just dirty but also stink. Stinky really makes me want to vomit. She sniffed her sleeve, finally going straight into the room to have maids help bathe, not forgetting to call out loudly. Song little cat, come bathe quickly. You stink too much. Come on, the bathtub is very big. Clara and I bathed together in the tub like when we were young, washing each other's hair and backs, even splashing water. If only we could return to childhood, how wonderful that would be. I stayed overnight in Clara's palace, having Jade disguise herself to find Adrian Gu, telling him everything I'd overheard along with evidence that the former empress was wronged. I couldn't appear publicly in this matter. Of course, Clara couldn't either. The most suitable person was only Adrian Gu. I was very worried about his health, so when I learned the next day that he personally entered the palace, I finally returned home. Tomorrow Luna would marry. I shouldn't stay in the palace too long. When I returned, Mother scolded me, "This girl, you can visit Clara anytime. Why stay overnight? Your sister marries tomorrow. Why aren't you taking this seriously?" I am taking it seriously. That's why I went to the palace to find Clara. My words left Mother speechless. I teased a bit more, then coaxed Mother. Alright, it's not like going to another country. The Crown Prince's mansion isn't far. She can return anytime. Besides, don't you still have me at home to accompany you? But now I was somewhat worried. If something unfortunate happened to Luna tomorrow, my parents would be very hurt. Should I find an opportunity to tell them Luna's true face? But if I told them, would they believe it? With my parents' personalities, if they knew how miserable I was in my previous life, they'd definitely be even more hurt. And if they didn't believe Luna had such a vicious heart, they'd definitely scold me. Even if they knew Luna was truly evil, with their saintly hearts, they might tell me to spare her life. Weighing the pros and cons, I decided not to tell them for now. During the third watch, I received news from the palace. When Adrian Gu went to Cold Palace to save the former empress, he also learned a cruel truth. The emperor had long known the former empress had nothing to do with past events but still let her bear everything. As for the current empress, this matter might not affect her too much. After all, the emperor wasn't the empress dowager's biological son, but saving the former empress wasn't for nothing. Living again, unfortunately I couldn't see the empress's angry expression. On the 10th of the month, the crown prince married. The whole nation celebrated. Though only a secondary consort, because she was the Song family's daughter, it was especially grand. But while outside was joyfully celebrating, inside the Song mansion was in chaos. Because the wedding clothes personally embroidered by my mother for Luna had disappeared. Father had people search the entire Song mansion, but couldn't find that beautiful autumn peony wedding dress. Of course they couldn't find it, because last night I had Xiao Yu secretly take it to the palace for Clara to keep for me. I absolutely couldn't let Luna wear clothes my mother embroidered to go die. Really having no choice, father waved his hand. If we can't find it, forget it. Didn't the crown prince already have clothes made and delivered? Luna pretended to cry. But those were personally embroidered by mother. I want to wear what mother embroidered. Maybe she wasn't pretending. She probably really wanted to wear clothes my mother embroidered, because she wanted to prove the Song family valued her. Even as a secondary consort, marrying into the imperial family wouldn't be too inferior. Mother comforted, it's fine. As long as you're happy, any clothes are fine. Xiaoqi, go get the crown prince's clothes. I quickly pulled the maid Xiaoqi aside, awkwardly saying, about this. The crown prince indeed had clothes delivered before, but they weren't personally embroidered by mother, so I had the crown prince's people take them back. Luna really wanted to cry now. What do we do now? Send someone to get them now. I helpfully suggested. Father thought about it and said, though the crown prince's mansion isn't far, going back and forth takes 1 or 2 hours. If we're not back in time, we'll miss the auspicious hour. Mother looked worried and agreed. Right, if the emperor blames us then, it'll be hard to explain. What should we do? I continued asking questions, making Luna anxious. I naturally knew there wasn't enough time, so when looking for the wedding clothes earlier, I deliberately delayed. Everyone in the house stood around looking at each other. Seeing my parents truly troubled, I suggested, I remember I have a red silk dress. Perhaps sister can wear it. Mother felt it wasn't quite right. Luna also showed unwillingness, feeling that wearing my old clothes for her wedding, and just a simple silk dress at that. But when father saw that red dress, he immediately said, after all, it's a red dress, all the same. Just wear this. If we miss the auspicious hour, we can't bear the responsibility. With no other choice, Luna could only wear my red dress and get in the wedding sedan. Clara, seeing her wearing that red silk dress to marry, secretly gave me a thumbs up. Song little cat. You're really something. This dress was actually one I got from a brothel courtesan who had worn it to sing. Anyone who had been to a brothel would have seen it. The crown prince naturally had also been to such places. When Luna stepped out and heard a child praise the bride as beautiful, the corners of her mouth lifted to the sky. But when she heard someone say the clothes she was wearing looked familiar, as if they'd seen them somewhere, her expression immediately soared. No matter how much gold, silver, and jewels she wore, they couldn't hide the brothel air of that silk dress. Father, devoted to the battlefield, didn't know. Mother, focused on studying medicine, also didn't know these things. The servants knew even less, and even if they knew, they wouldn't expose me. By the time Luna knew she'd been humiliated, she was already in the wedding sedan. Luna Song, you don't deserve to wear clothes my mother embroidered. Her wearing a brothel courtesan's clothes was already giving her a grand burial. At noon, a messenger came with news. Luna had died mysteriously on her wedding night at the crown prince's mansion. Everyone in the mansion was in chaos handling the funeral arrangements. The Song family's second young lady died mysteriously on her wedding night, her whole body naked and disfigured. Early the next morning, I was awakened by father pounding on my door. Child, your sister. Seeing father with tears streaming down his face, my heart ached somewhat. I quickly supported him and said, Father, what happened? Tell me slowly. After all, she was a daughter he'd raised for many years. Having some feelings was natural. My parents' reaction was as I'd predicted. My parents and I went to the crown prince's mansion to demand justice. Marcus Gu, seeing my parents, guiltily knelt down, unable to give a reasonable explanation. All of this I naturally knew clearly. She died in his bed with him lying beside her. Who would believe he wasn't involved? Father-in-law. This matter has nothing to do with me. Please believe me. How do you address me? The formal address of royalty in feudal times. Father didn't even look at him but went into the room to pick up the person wrapped in white cloth on the bed. Luna, don't be afraid. Father will take you home. Seeing my parents like this, I truly felt somewhat reluctant. But if Luna didn't die, then later the ones who died might be my whole family. So I couldn't soften my heart. After handling Luna's funeral affairs, I accompanied my parents for several more days. By mid-month, I had Jade write a letter to Adrian Gu, arranging to meet him at the place for leg treatment. Only then did I learn he'd been waiting there for me for several days already. I'm truly sorry, Your Highness. There were some matters at home these days that needed handling. I didn't expect Adrian Gu would come here to wait for me, so I felt very guilty and regretful. Why didn't I write to him sooner? It's fine. I already knew. He reached out to gently touch my face, his eyes carrying emotions I didn't understand. Sophia Song, what kind of person are you really? His gaze was burning hot as if wanting to see through me. No matter what kind of person I am, Your Highness, please trust me. I, Sophia Song, absolutely have no divided loyalty toward Your Highness. Is that so? He frowned, sitting up straight and keeping distance from me. Yes, I solemnly answered, then asked, Your Highness, how is the Empress Dowager? He knew I was asking about his mother, the former Empress, so he gently answered, recuperating at my mansion for a time. Her health is no longer concerning. That's good. He looked at me, parting his lips as if wanting to ask something, but finally swallowed the question back, then directly said, let's begin. Alright. Because we'd paused for half a month, I temporarily couldn't directly use stronger treatment methods, so I started over from the beginning, using the gentlest methods first to reduce his pain. Unexpectedly, during treatment Adrian Gu actually fell asleep. Though he'd dozed before in previous sessions, he'd never slept like this. This time he slept until the treatment ended and still hadn't woken. I covered his legs with a blanket and stood up preparing to leave, letting him rest a bit. Unexpectedly, just as I was about to stand, he suddenly reached out and grabbed my wrist, mouth softly murmuring, Don't. Alright, I won't go. You sleep. Adrian. Seeing his eyebrows relax slightly, my heart felt like a great stone had been lifted. He finally was beginning to trust me. Is that so? 1 month after Luna's death, father finally returned to court, while mother, struck by Luna's passing, fell ill. Someone who had never been sick before was now ill. Inside and outside the palace, rumors spread that the Song family lost their daughter, while the crown prince had no reasonable explanation. So from now on they wouldn't stand on the same side as the crown prince. I was the one who spread this rumor, but it wasn't entirely just a rumor. Father originally didn't like the crown prince. Because the crown prince was the person in my heart, father gave me face and didn't hold grudges against him. Now at court, anyone from the crown prince's side made father's eyes itch. In the evening, mother held my hand, both pained by Luna's death, but also feeling fortunate the one who married into the crown prince's mansion wasn't me. I held mother's hand and said, Mother, don't you always say each person has their fate, life and death by destiny, wealth and honor by heaven? Don't think about it anymore. The common people are all waiting for you to recover and treat their illnesses. So many sick people every day. Senior brother is about to be overwhelmed. Because mother had superb medical skills, our medical hall was packed with people every day. After holding mother's hand for a while, I suddenly felt something wasn't right. Mother, I feel your body isn't well. I pulled mother's hand over to take her pulse. It's nothing. I'm just overly grieved and caught a chill. It's not like that. After firmly pulling mother's hand to take her pulse, I said with certainty, Mother, you've been poisoned. I never thought mother, being a healer, would be poisoned. Moreover, this poison was very strange, not an extremely strong poison, but very mild. But over long periods, it could kill. Don't tell father. Mother had just finished speaking when father pushed open the door and came in, looking at mother with frightened eyes. Clearly, he had heard our conversation. After taking father's pulse, I was shocked to discover his body also had poison. Father, Mother, don't you feel anything abnormal? I asked. Father shook his head. Nothing abnormal. Mother answered, recently feel very easily tired. At the medical hall, Before finishing seeing patients, I already want to sleep. I thought it was because I'm getting older, so my body is weaker. Plus with Luna's matter. Speaking of which, I'm the same, feeling very tired. Being able to poison both parents at the same time, it's definitely someone in the mansion. Moreover, someone very familiar. I had father sit down, then return to my room to get silver needles, conveniently bringing a bowl of water. Sophia, child, seeing my actions. Mother was very surprised. Mother indeed taught me medicine, but from young I loved to play and didn't seriously study, so mother always thought I was just a dabbler. She didn't expect I not only discovered the poison in their bodies, but could also skillfully use silver needles. In my previous life, I truly was a dabbler, but later, wanting to heal Adrian Gu's legs, I pestered mother to frantically study medicine. Mother, rest assured, I can do this. I'd guessed correctly, mother and father had the same chronic poison. The poison was slowly absorbed into the body. We couldn't find the antidote for this poison, only the poisoner would know what the antidote was. In my previous life, my parents died on the second day after being thrown in prison, supposedly committing suicide out of fear. I knew for certain they were murdered, knew they died from poison, but didn't know this poison had long existed in their bodies. Luna Song, your schemes are too deep. I smashed the bowl in my hand and went straight to the kitchen, catching the maid with the best relationship with Luna. Normally she was responsible for delivering food. The poison might have been administered by her. But something was strange. If my parents were poisoned, why was I fine? Moreover, was this poison truly colorless and tasteless? I brought these doubts while severely interrogating that maid. Finally got the answer. Just as I thought, it was indeed Luna who had her poison them. But not in the food, in the wine. Mother was a healer, poisoning food would be easily discovered. But poisoning wine, the wine smell would mask the poison. Moreover, wine only needs one sip to enter the stomach, basically impossible to detect. No wonder Luna and I were safe because we didn't drink wine. Hearing it was Luna who had someone poison them, my parents' eyes widened. You actually dare slander Luna? What scheme?